What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the pod at the Palace after dark in Nashville from an undisclosed location. Scotty, it's over.
Somebody tried to get in here earlier. Do you remember that?
Somebody tried to come in here and snatch us.
You were working really hard. I thought it was in response to the story I had just published, but I think that was just me being in my own head. But
you better look alive.
Yeah, I might not sleep great tonight. To be honest, perfectly honest with you.
And things of that nature. Mm-hmm. Oh, wrong podcast. Sorry,
yeah.
Brain's a little scrambled.
It's still
after
basketball.
Yeah. Although basketball season is officially over.
It is over.
Thanks to South Carolina, who shoveled dirt on the Razorbacks today, put an end to what's been a season of misery for Arkansas basketball. 80-66 was the final. It was a 3-point game at halftime, and Arkansas did what they've done, quite frankly, all season, which is crater at signs of adversity, and they were not able to respond. South Carolina was the better team. They pulled away and won comfortably. Whatever. I don't know that the game itself really matters.
I mean, Arkansas led by 3 with 2:15 left in the first half. KB hit a couple of free throws, and then Josh Gray got a dunk with 1:59 left in the half, and then Arkansas had 3 turnovers on offense to close the half, and South Carolina got a dunk and a Meechie Johnson layup where he basically went three-quarter court for a layup in 4 seconds.
Yeah, that's right.
That was basically Arkansas's season in a nutshell. Give up a 6-0 run to end the half, and then South Carolina opens up with an 8-0 run, I think, to start the second half, and it was curtains at that point.
It was a wrap from there. I thought it was going to get really ugly at that point.
Yeah.
They went on that 8-0 run. It was an 11-point game. Credit to Arkansas. They did cut it to 6 over the next few minutes, but it didn't matter, man. I think it ballooned up to over 20. They didn't have an answer for Colin Murray-Boyles, who's the best freshman in the SEC. Yeah, I said it. I know Reed Shepherd's in the SEC. Yeah, I said it. But no, seriously, that dude's good, man. Like he's kind of that old school power forward type.
Yeah.
Arkansas needs one of those, and Arkansas needs a lot of things because this team stunk all season long, and it was a miserable season. They failed to meet expectations. They didn't even come close to it. 16-17 overall. It's the first time Arkansas has finished below 500 since, what did we say, 2009,
2010, yeah.
This is the first time an Eric Musselman coached team in his head coaching tenure in college has finished below 20 wins.
Yeah.
It's ugly. It was dysfunctional, and there were a lot of weird vibes from what we watched on the floor, from what we watched in huddles with guys screaming at each other, to what we saw in the locker room, which we'll get to that in a minute, but different vibes than you would expect from an overtime win yesterday to a season-ending loss today. It was a very weird deal. I don't know that I really have a whole lot to say about this season other than I'm glad it's over, man. This has been brutal.
Yeah, we thought last season was tough. I mean, it was tough last season. Like we were in. It was fair for us to say that we were ready for last season to be over during the regular season because they just kept finding ways to blow double-digit leads, and we just heard nonstop about how young the team was, and the team's just got to learn how to win. They made it all worth it by beating Kansas.
Yeah,
but if you take away that Kansas game, Curtis, like think about the last 2 years of Arkansas basketball. It's been incredibly mediocre.
Very much so.
And what is it? What did they finish last season? They were a few games above 500 last season.
Yeah, like 22-14 or something. Is that?
Yeah, something like that. I've erased that season from my mind too.
Yeah, take me back there.
22-14. Take me back to the Cover and Anthony Black days. That would be nice.
Yeah.
22-14 last season, and then 16-17 this year. It's been below average basketball for quite a while now, minus one game.
Yeah.
And Bill Self didn't even coach in that game.
Yeah. I think the only thing more frustrating about just watching this team continue to piss down its own leg, here in do or die situations is probably us fumbling around with this equipment to get this podcast ready to roll. Poor Branson's back. The man's just trying to have a steak, He's just trying to have a steak.
We're just not letting it happen.
We're over here tripping all over ourselves trying to get this thing set up. It's just a damn shame because the team that came into the season with so much hype,
Final Four expectations.
Final Four, yeah, absolutely. I mean, they were a bona fide top 15 team, and it made sense. Anybody who wants to say that, this group isn't talented enough or whatever, bullshit. That's not true. They are. And everybody recognized that, and that's why they were a unanimous top 15 team in the country.
Yeah.
It just didn't work, man. It was like trying to fit, the square peg into a round hole or whatever cliche you want to use. Like the pieces just did not come together. And it's the blame can be spread, if you ask me. I think it was problems with roster construction. I think they took some swings on doing some things differently than they have in the past. It just didn't work out.
Sacrificing
I think it was a
defense for shooting, and then you didn't get the shooting or the defense.
Exactly. I think it was a piss poor coaching job. Sorry, it just was. And I think the guys can shoulder a lot of the blame too, because they did not come together.
Yeah.
And I listen. They can say whatever they want about how close the group was and how how they love each other, and the record wasn't reflective of how they felt about each other. Maybe that's true. I don't know.
I think the record was better than, maybe their connectivity. Like they
just didn't have it on the damn floor.
Yeah, their connectivity just screamed like a team that was way under 500.
Yep.
And I think it was. I think you actually had a couple of guys that have pro level offensive games that willed that team to a game under 500. Like legitimately, I think that's it. Like this team, the way that they, just the vibe that we got, I think from being around them a couple of days in the locker room, it was just a team that just didn't seem joined.
No, yeah, they
whatsoever.
weren't. I don't care what they were not connected at all on the floor.
Yeah,
and maybe they're best friends off the floor, but that's just. I don't want to speak to that, but all I know is the vibes that I got being around them and being in the locker room. It didn't seem like. It just seemed like they were ready to be done.
Yeah.
To me. And I hate to say that, but it's just, I don't know any other way to describe it. Yeah. I really don't.
I don't think you would disagree with this. It seemed the mood was lighter after losing to South Carolina than it was after beating Vanderbilt.
Absolutely.
It was almost like there was after Vanderbilt, it was like, on one hand, you want to win, because you want to keep playing ball. You want to keep playing the game that you love. But on the same token, it was like, man, we have to do this again type of deal. And then after South Carolina, it was almost like it felt like there was a sense of relief from like everybody in that locker room. I mean, I'm sure it was tough for, a few guys maybe. I think Jeremiah Davenport's probably in that bunch that is probably hurt that it's over.
Jeremiah Davenport, I talked to him after the game, and I hate, there's nothing worse than the end of season locker room experience, because it's like everybody's bummed out, usually upset. It's tough to find the right words for guys to answer questions and for us to ask questions. I mean, it's just a tough situation. And I know everybody, back home wants you to get in there and grill them right away. And what are you doing? Are you coming back? What the hell was going on? That's just not the time for it. And you got to have a little bit of tact with it. But I thought we approached it the right way. I mean, I asked every one of those guys that I talked to straight up, like, what held this team back from the expectations that they had in the preseason? Nobody had answers, dude. Or the people who did have answers took probably the professional route of like pleading the fifth or taking the high road.
Yeah.
Because I got a lot of, that's all I'm going to say about that. Or if you really watch, you could tell. Or I don't know, man. Or,
I thought
with the crooked smile on the end of the face.
One of the most telling answers was in that Davenport interview that you got. It was like, just what can you what held this team back? And he was like, I don't know. And then in his next breath said it was a lot of things.
Yep.
Like it was, I think on the surface it seems simple, like chemistry, connectivity, but I mean, I think it was pretty complicated.
Yeah, very much so.
Complicated deal.
And I think about that Vanderbilt game, and listen, I get it, man. It's Wednesday sadness. Nobody wants to be there for that, but you're playing for some of them are playing for their careers.
Yeah.
You're playing for your season, and it's Vanderbilt. I get it, but like, you came back from 15 down. had to overcome adversity, responded in overtime, and got a win. You live to play another day, and it was crickets in there. Like those guys weren't talking to each other. There wasn't a bunch of smiles. There wasn't a celebration.
Most of the talking there was about when can I get in an ice bath?
Exactly.
Type of stuff.
Guys were just kind of spread out. They were in their lockers and doing their own thing, and just, I think, kind of just waiting for us to get the hell out of there so they could dip.
For sure.
Some guys were hiding in, behind whiteboards. Some guys were back off in the bathroom away from everybody else. Like, it was just, maybe that's just how, like, I know every team's different with the dynamics and everything like that, but it really threw me off. And then you're 100% right. Like, to walk in there tonight.
That locker room is just not like the other ones we've been in.
No, bro, not at all.
In
and I get it,
postseason.
like this, like NCAA tournament or whatever,
Yeah.
but Scotty, think back to this even media day this year when we got to go into the practice facility, watch those guys work out, make the rounds, and talk to everybody. We were around those guys for several hours. I remember walking out of there thinking, dude, I love the personality of this team. They seem like they're gelling. They get along. They were making, everybody I interviewed was making jokes about the other guys. There was a lot of smiles, energy, funny, cracking jokes. And so I was believing it when I was hearing, I'm like, no, these guys are together. They're locked in. To go from that, which was in October or whatever, to now, holy, like, what the hell happened, man? I just,
I don't know.
just baffling in there. And I hope we're doing a decent job of like depicting what we saw in that locker room. It just came across as very, very bizarre to me and unfortunate. And I get it. Like it's going to be a different experience in NCAA tournament locker room versus
absolutely, for
sub
sure.
500.
Yeah, Wednesday night sadness locker room.
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure.
But that was, it was awkward and it was kind of tense and it was.
I think tense is a good word for Wednesday night.
Mm-hmm.
And then Thursday,
Relief.
I don't want to say people were loose, but like, dude, smiles,
Yeah.
laughing. Some people, like some guys. I think relief is just maybe the best way to describe it. It went from
ready to be
tense
done with
after a win to relieved after a loss. And I was, we were, I think it was maybe the under 8 timeout or the under 4 timeout, games in hand, whatever. The details don't matter at that point. I think we started, I think, writing notes down on what we wanted to ask guys and who we wanted to talk to specifically. And I was I was dreading it. I always dread it.
I
always
man.
go back to, I think it was my first year on the beat, 2017-18. So the 2018 NCAA tournament. I think that was after Daniel Gafford's freshman season. Daryl Macon was on that team. Jalen Barford, I believe, is on that team. And so you had a lot of questions to ask. That one was tough. That one was infinitely tougher than today or after Thursday. It was kind of a breeze.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the reasons I thought it was a breeze is because somebody actually talked.
Yeah.
Devo talked.
Yeah, he did.
And if you haven't read it yet, it was like people want guys on the roster in the locker room to talk all the time. Like that's what they want. They want somebody to be honest instead of giving the company line. And then instead of just like getting up there, giving the company line, walking out, whatever.
Everyone
Devo
that I
talked.
talked to had a lot they wanted to say
And didn't.
and they said a lot with very few words.
Mm-hmm.
And Devo said a lot with a lot of words. He said what everybody was thinking is kind of
For
how
sure.
I feel about that. And that was a great interview you got.
Definitely. And he, Vo was one of the guys that, didn't come out of the bathroom on Wednesday to talk.
Yep.
And I wanted to talk to him because he played well.
Mm-hmm.
He really did. He played well. And
I wanted to do the March Devo thing.
Yeah, exactly. I leaned over to you during that game. I was like, Curtis, I think March Devo's back. I was like, it's way too little too late, obviously. But he had a good game, legitimately. Jerry Stackhouse said that him and Trevin Brazil were the difference in the game because those two guys combined for 25 points and 5 threes. And Vo hit 2 of them, and I think he had 12, 13, or 14 points.
Mm-hmm.
Wanted to talk to him. He didn't talk, but I guess I got him at just the right time. He walked out of the bathroom, hadn't even thrown his shirt back on yet. And I said, Devo, you got a minute to talk? And getting out the phone to do, 4K video. And he's like, I don't want to do video, just audio. You got it, boss.
Yeah.
Like, sit down and talk to him 6 or 7 minutes, and just kind of laid it out there. Open, honest, raw, candid. I think that's just the best way I could put it. He, just go. I don't want to mischaracterize what he said by, paraphrasing him. The quotes are in that story. I paraphrased him a couple times in there just so I could get to the next quote, because the quotes were telling. I had a buddy text me earlier, said the story was damning. Quotes were damning, just about the lack of camaraderie and
He said what everybody
chemistry
already
on
knew.
the team. Yeah,
and just wanted to hear.
Yeah, he just said it. Mm-hmm. Somebody finally said it.
Yeah, I would highly recommend going back and listening to that. Caleb Battle, even he was at the podium, and he was kind of asked what the difference was, in the second half, and he was speaking to South Carolina, and he said they played as a team. That was the difference in the game.
Yeah,
it's like they played hard, they played as a team, and again, not to paraphrase or put words into somebody's mouth, but I think that tells you that he doesn't feel like Arkansas did the same, and they didn't, and he's not the only one who said that.
No,
it is what it is, man.
That's what we kind of had a short little conference after we walked out of the locker room, and it was just like, what'd you get? Who said what? And you were like, the word connectivity came up like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah,
and South Carolina is connected as any team in this league right now. Like they've got pieces that like playing with each other, that complement each other. And I really don't think other than KB / T-Mark and Mackay on the right night complement each other.
Yeah.
You just don't.
Yep. I agree, man.
That's how you end up getting bounced and down by as many as 21 in round 2 of the tournament.
Yeah. And, for everybody who's wondering, everybody that I had the opportunity to, I asked them, like what the immediate future holds, and what the plan is for stay or go, or when they're going to come to those conclusions. Got the answers that I expected from the guys that I talked to, like TB, for example. He's, he's going to kind of unwind a little bit and get with his family and his inner circle.
The thing that stood out to me
out.
that he said when you asked him about his future was get his body healthy.
Yep. Rehab, back at it.
Yeah. I wonder where he feels like he is, because that was kind of a running bit that I had early in the season. He said, maybe after the second or third game or his first really good game, he said he was at like 110%. And then a couple games later, he said he was like 150 or whatever. I wonder where he is right now, which going into a summer that could, potentially change his life. I mean, he's got to get that body right.
Right. I know you talked to Devo about it, and
taking things day to day.
Yeah.
Day to day, step by step. But I will read one quote that he said. I actually capped it with this. It said he's going to be looking out for himself more in the future. He said, that's what I see now within people around me. Of course, being there for the team and things like that, but also taking care of myself as well, because I wasn't doing that. And so it made it difficult on me, and not everybody cares. Just looking forward to just seeing what's next for me and making sure, like I said, I'm taking care of myself.
There you go.
Taking care of him.
Yep. I was interviewing Mackay Mitchell, who was great, by the way. I mean, he just played his last college game.
Yeah.
And he gave some
I thought his interview was great.
Yeah, he gave some really thoughtful answers, so make sure you check that out. Full disclosure, Tremont Mark was right beside him. And as I was wrapping up with Kai to get ready to go to T Mark to talk to him and ask about his plans and the season and everything, he got up and walked out. And I didn't see him again. So didn't get the opportunity to talk to him. And then they had Caleb Battle back in the holding room because he was the player that went up there with Muss in the post game. But he was asked in the post game, and he just said, "I don't know what I'm doing. Like, we just lost. Right now, I'm just thinking about next season, but I don't know." So we'll see. That's how it is. Like, very, very. It's very rare for somebody to just kind of disclose their plans, you know,
for sure.
In the setting like that. But it's part of the
even
job.
TB said you got to give it a couple days to let it breathe. But
right. And I didn't ask. I didn't make my rounds to the other guys in there, Blocker, Bay, whoever else. Did you find it curious that none of those guys got in the game? Like, it's a wrap, it's over. But none of those guys who could be potential, I don't know, building blocks for the future, but guys who could return, young guys, develop, whatever, none of them got in.
Yeah.
None of them.
Yeah, I did notice that. I thought it was interesting. I don't know that I read too much. I don't think I read a lot into it at the time. But now that you bring it up, maybe. At the time, it was just like he's just going to play his older guys and until the horn sounds, and then, you know.
I don't think it was that
just
at
kind of
all.
whatever.
I don't think it was that at all.
Yeah.
And I'll leave it at that. And I think people will understand here, what's today, Thursday? In 3 days when portal season opens up.
Yep.
Yeah.
Writing just feels like it's on the wall.
Yeah. I was a very big observer of body language on the bench and in the locker room, and have a feeling there's going to be some changes. Changes are coming for sure. And that leads us to maybe the final question, like, what now for Arkansas basketball? I think it's easy to say fresh start, rebuild, hit the portal, go crazy. And I kind of like some of the things that Eric Musselman said after the game in terms of, hey, this is new territory for me, and this stings, and I don't like it, and I want to be going to NCAA tournaments and making runs, not, and he's got high expectations, and he said he's never been more motivated than he is right now. He said a lot of the right things that he needed to say. And so it is kind of a program or tenure defining offseason in terms of what they need to do in the portal. But I'll be honest with you, I got more text about where he's headed that's not named Arkansas than I did who the hell is he's going to go get out of the portal. And so, I'm sure they're going to attack that thing, but we're going to have a wild offseason in terms of the balance between how hard are they recruiting the portal and who are they trying to bring in? And then is Musk going to be back? And maybe it's a leverage situation where, he's trying to get a raise or an extension. Hell, half the SEC has at this point. Who is it? Like,
man,
Lamont Paris, Todd Golden, Chris Beard.
Yeah.
Maybe there's more coming down the pipe. So it could be something to that. But like every job that pops up, we're hearing his name connected to it. So either the man's agent is working overtime to get him more money, or he's trying to get the hell out of Fayetteville. I don't know.
I would imagine Eric Musselman's agent works.
Yeah, I bet he does. You got to at least have the same energy as Musk. So
absolutely. Yeah, agents are wired differently anyways, but yeah, if you're going to be Eric's agent, you got to be working 25/8,
And so,
it's going to be man, we need to get our rest before Monday.
Yeah, probably so. And we'll see what happens. I've heard, obviously everybody's heard the Louisville stuff. I've heard that there may be some other names at the top of their lists, and who knows how those dominoes are going to play out.
Yeah.
I've heard Arizona State, if Hurley leaves, Washington was the big buzz today. Or he might be back at Arkansas. I don't know. But I know it's uneasy times for a program. And it's also hard to recruit and sell transfers on coming. And you don't have time to mess around. So I think something's got to come to a head soon with the whole Musk situation. Either, you're out and you're off to greener pastures, or you sign an extension and you're committed, or you send out a cute little thing on Twitter that says you're coming back, or like whatever you got to do, because if you're going to stick around, you got to do a complete roster overhaul. You got to be able to sell kids that you're going to be here. And it's the same thing, like your freshmen that are already signed. Like if I'm Jalen Shelley or Isaiah Elohim, these dudes are on Twitter. Like they know who Trilly Donovan is or whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they're seeing all this stuff. Like how difficult must it be to be committed when you don't know if there's a commitment for the guy who recruited you?
I would
So
imagine
that's
it's
tough,
got to
and
be
that's part of the
incredibly
deal
difficult
with
for
the
sure.
coaching carousel.
Yeah.
I understand that, but like they don't have time to mess around with it, man. Especially when you think about, you know, some of the top names who were potential, you know, just in case targeted replacements. Chris Beard just signed a big extension at Ole Miss,
Right.
You know, so I would be surprised if we didn't, or maybe that's not the best phrase. I'm anticipating if Muss is serious about sticking around, that we hear something in terms of I'm back or I got an extension or whatever before Monday.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at with it.
I don't see an extension happening though. Like not after, but you know, your name's in the mix for enough jobs and you know, they want to tie you down. It's necessary. But
He's got less of a buyout than Mike Neighbors. Like you got to have some kind of security,
yeah.
you know?
Yeah, for sure. Oh my goodness, Curtis. 12 months ago, where were we? Des Moines, covering NCAA tournament games, watching them beat Kansas, feeling pretty good about things, and now everything just feels like it's been flipped on its head, and we just don't know about the future of this program.
Yeah, it's tough.
It really is.
If you were the
top
kid
down.
if you were the kid from Penn that hit the portal, that scored 25 on Arkansas when he was a freshman,
Yeah.
and Arkansas has contacted him now, where would they be on your list of interest? Given the season they had,
Yeah,
given
there would
all the
be
rumors about their coach, like
based on Arkansas's track record the last, you know, you throw this year away, but the last 3 years, yeah, I think you're interested. It's like Mekhi Mitchell said something I thought was interesting in the post game. Like you asked him, you know, about his 2 years here, and he was like, "Yeah, part of the reason I came here is because Arkansas makes pros." But there's too much uncertainty to be like to feel good about Arkansas right now. If you're, you know, a kid in the portal, you don't really. Because those kids those kids they can say all they want that they're not tuned in to what's happening or they're on social media and they're not keeping up with rumors and stuff. That's major hat. It is. Those kids are paying attention because they don't want to make like one wrong decision. Picking one wrong school can derail your career, dude.
yeah,
It really can.
we've seen that. We saw that with several guys this year.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. You don't want to make the wrong decision in the portal and just a lot of uncertainty. Like if you're paying attention to Arkansas at all, you know that there's uncertainty.
Let's revisit something that's been thrown out there before. Over under 1.5 guys off the current roster back next season.
On the current roster, who could be? So technically, Devo could be back.
Yep.
Technically, KB could be back.
Yep. T-Mark, TB.
T-Bark, TB, Bay, Blocker, Pinion. Is that it? Yep. 7 guys?
Mm-hmm.
I'll probably take the under on that one, Curtis.
Yeah. And
like I cannot say confidently.
Thank you.
Cannot say with any confidence whatsoever that one of those guys will come back.
Yeah.
We talked about Pinion, Blocker, Bay, like not getting into the game late, and not like that kind of that's a sign.
Oh yeah.
You made me believe that in the last 5 minutes that it was a sign.
I know 3 of those guys off that list just mentioned that are gone for sure. 100% blood bank guaranteed. I'll let them make their own announcements about what's happening. But so there's that.
Yeah.
And so then out of 4, yeah, I'm with you. Like, I don't know, like maybe you get every one of them back and that'd be cool.
Would it?
But I'm with you. Like, I'm not confident in saying any of them just based on what we've seen, man. I don't know. It's going to be, it's going to be wild.
Would it be good to get them all back?
I don't know, man. Probably not.
No, I think those guys need to focus on bag season. And
I wish they get Battle back just because I like watching them play.
Yeah.
That's all. I like
I do
watching the kid
too.
play.
Yeah. I think like we like all those guys. They're just certain things about their games. Like Battle or T-Mark don't get a call like in transition or whatever, and then they turn into like top of the key to half court guys. And that's just that's infuriating. But then again, T-Mark can go for 35, KB can go for 30 every night, 40 on occasion, and lead your offense. I don't know. I don't expect really. I don't know that I really expect any of those guys to be back.
I would be like a little bit surprised.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be
so we'll
shocked.
see.
I'd be shocked if T-Mark came back. Would be more than surprised if KB came back.
Yeah.
Like I think
Same
that
with TB.
the end of his season propelled him. TB, yeah, I think in his case, it's one of those deals where you go try to prove yourself over, a couple of months span instead of doing this thing for another year, and just hoping that you stay injury free,
Right.
and hoping that like your productivity doesn't fluctuate and you don't miss time or whatever. Just focus on the summer. Try to hit it big this summer.
Yep. It's we're gonna post this podcast early Friday morning, but it's after 9:00 Thursday night. And we're about to get out of here because we gotta get something to eat, man.
Mm-hmm.
But do you think that we will have published a portal story by the time that this podcast goes out tomorrow morning? I ask you that, and then I ask you, do you think we will have published another one? Or do you think I will have published one while you're driving us back from Nashville tomorrow?
I wouldn't be shocked if there's a couple.
Or I shouldn't
But
just say
like-
portal story, but an announcement. Somebody.
Yeah,
I'm declaring for
like
the
that
draft. I'm going to the whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that wouldn't surprise me a bit.
Yeah, me neither. It's crazy.
I'm fully prepared to like give you my personal hotspot passcode, and then I'll pull out my laptop, and you can just
We'll get it done,
hit
man.
publish on one of those shells. Yeah,
We'll get it done. No, I'm kind of expecting that. It's time for me to get back on Twitter and Instagram and turn on everybody's noties and get ready for all that. It's just my favorite time of the year. I know you love it too. Yeah,
That's
I wonder about
I asked
that.
you if you were ready for portal season. What was it, Monday? And you were just like,
No.
no.
Although we have found some guys that we like, and I'm looking forward to that, like breaking down some of these guys that hit the portal and who would be good fits.
Oh, if you're wondering, by the way, before Arkansas and Vandy played on Wednesday, we're not new to college basketball scouting on YouTube, but they're starting to post highlight videos of some of the guys who are like, hey, I'm going in, I'm intending to go into the portal. They've got highlight videos for those guys. And so if you look at the portal board story file on our website, the highlight videos are attached. So you can go start getting familiar with those guys, get eyes on them.
I would
Instead
recommend
of just looking at their headshot and their numbers,
I would recommend hopping on our big board and hint, hint, wink, wink, checking out a new addition named Jacob Cruz.
His highlight video is fun now.
You might ought to do that. Might be something there. We'll see.
Yeah, it's fun.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. So my last question for you, and we're gonna recap this.
I feel like I'm getting interviewed in the post
man.
game.
Well, when we reconvene, we'll see if our feelings on the day of the end of the season about what was to come are accurate or not. If we were just over emotional about things.
I don't think we
Monday-
are at all. I think
I
this
don't
team.
think so
I think
either.
this team has like zapped any emotion we could have had or any attachment we could have had
Oh, absolutely.
to it. That was zapped a long time ago.
So we're curious about whether or not we're running roster stories on our drive back from Nashville Friday. Do you think when we record Monday morning, which will probably be a big portal preview because ta-da, it's open.
Yeah.
On that day, do you think we'll have any form of clarity on the Muss situation yet?
I just don't know.
I don't know either. I'm gonna say no because it would be too easy for us to get that.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at with it.
Yeah. I'm hard. I don't know to. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I will say about Muss though.
I think he's gonna heat up soon though.
Oh yeah, it absolutely is.
very soon.
The craziest thing to this about me is seeing, just some of the stuff that was circulating around out there, just other job stuff, whatever. Washington was the flavor of the day. But you remember after the game last night, I think you were standing right beside me. They beat Vanderbilt, and they were waiting on Muss. I guess he was doing the SEC Network thing, and he came back by the locker room, addressed the guys for a minute, and he had to get to the press conference. He came out, and him and Hunter Yurachek had like a passionate, like, hell yeah, brother, embrace out there, like a bro hug, It's like what we do when we've seen each other after a few days away. You know? It was like they were boys.
Yeah.
And so I walked away from that like, oh, okay. And then wake up this morning and it's all this stuff about somebody else. So I don't know, man. All I know is I'm buckling my seatbelt and I'm ready for the ride.
Yeah, it felt like the Eric stuff had quieted down maybe a little, and then A&M reports were floating out there that A&M had found its AD, and so I'm like,
yep,
just get comfy.
Yeah,
get comfy with that pair of like, God bless, dude. Who knows? I don't know.
Oh,
that's where I am. I'm like the guys in the locker room. I don't know. It's a lot of things.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I can say.
Yeah.
Oh man,
I think L. Ellis dropped as many, honestly, or to be honest.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, as Sam did.
Yeah. To be honest with you,
does.
I can't be honest with you.
Yeah.
Well, it's over. And the
what an interesting trip this has been. Short but interesting.
Very interesting trip. We're gonna enjoy our last night here.
Yeah.
And this place that we're staying at is freaking awesome.
Yeah.
So it's been good. It's been enjoyable. At least they won one game, and we got to stick it out for a couple days. The last thing I'll say about this team, and then damn it, I'm not talking about this team like ever again.
Yeah, it's a good
go
call.
check out the interviews that we posted on YouTube after the game today against South Carolina. The guys that I talked to at the end, I asked every one of them, do you have a message, any words that you want to share with the fans back home that have rocked with you guys through what's been a disappointing season? And I think if you do that, you'll have maybe an appreciation that you miss out on when you're ticked off about some of the results. Yeah. I would just recommend listening to that because I think it would make some of you feel, I don't know if better is the word, but you'll have some more admiration for a few of those guys.
Yeah, for sure. I loved Kai's message. I've really grown in the last, what is it, a month and a half since he's been playing really well. I've really grown to think that Kai is going to have a long career playing ball somewhere. I think he's got a pro mindset. I think this year helped him grow up, getting away from his brother a little bit. Super thoughtful. I think he's tough, offensively better than I thought he was. Can really impact games. Jeremiah Davenport was another one. Just the effort and energy, people appreciated that. And Jay didn't have a great year at all, but God, there's nobody else I would rather watch grab a made free throw out of a net and slam the ball down on the baseline than him. Yeah, I agree. I think you'll have greater appreciation for some of those guys. Just listening to that I guess kind of a farewell message from some of them.
For sure. Any parting thoughts?
None.
Yeah. Me either.
Hungry.
Me too. Let's go eat.
All right.
Thank you sincerely to everyone who has followed along on this wild journey. This has been an extremely difficult team to cover. We did the best we could. We're excited about everything that's going on moving forward. You guys are awesome. We appreciate you. And I don't know, let's have a little fun during what's going to be, goodness gracious, just a crazy ass off season. So can't wait.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy. We need to get our sleep in the next few days because probably going to be around the clock with this basketball program for a little while.
Yeah. We might have to offer Ellis some fried pickles for like a night shift or two,
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be good.
You offer that man an appetizer, he'll do just about anything. So
He's
that might
always
be the
willing to
move.
bet the Frickles.
All right. Well, we're out of here, everybody. Appreciate you guys as always for tuning in. We will be back Sunday night. First of all, make sure you check that out because we're going to be doing a live stream for Selection Sunday. Listen, even though Arkansas is not going to be involved, March Madness is cool. Everybody loves the tournament and the bracket. We've got a pretty neat deal planned out for filling that thing out. And we'd like everybody to join us and follow along with that. And then we'll be back with Pot of the Palace on Monday to welcome portal season. Buckle up.
You
It's
sound
gonna be
so
fun.
excited, bro.
Can't wait. Scottie Bordelon, this has been Curtis Wilkerson. We're out of here. Appreciate you guys. We'll catch you next time.